Okay, so again, this is your review for your final. Please write down anything that you want to write on here. Like I said, we're going to go over a few of these together, and then I'll leave, like we'll work through some of the odds, or I'll just give you information on, and then you can do as much practice as you want, kind of on your own time, rewatch the video, whatever. But some of it goes back to the way beginning, so really long ago, like problems 1 through 4, simplifying and solving were the first chapter that we did, okay? But they're really big at algebra, so it's important that we remember how to do it. So keep it in mind, simplifying, I have to distribute. Does that ring a bell? Do you remember distributing? So this is -8 minus 5r plus 45, because the minus 5 and the minus 9.
Wouldn't that be negative 5r?
It's
Oh, yeah.
the minus acts like the negative. And then combine like terms. So this one would be 37 minus 5r would be my final answer. When it asks you to simplify, you're not going to get an actual solution. That happens when it asks you to solve, as in problems 3 and 4. This is just simplify. Oh,
Just like the 37.
Yep,
37 minus 5r is the answer.
that's your answer. Yeah, that is it. This is your final. I know that I'm not going to be solving this because there's no equal sign in this problem. That's usually the dead giveaway in algebra, that you're going to be doing some solving, an equal sign. Like here, there's an equal sign in problem number 3. If there's no equal sign in the problem, I'm just going to be simplifying. So in problem number 3, remember your goal is to get the letter alone. So in this case, it's the N I want to get alone, and I have to undo everything around it. Always start with what's furthest away from the letter, but on the same side. And so I have my choice of undoing the divide by 10 or undoing this -2. Well, because the divide by 10 is right next to that N, that's going to be the last thing I do. They're kind of attached. So I'm going to add 2 on both sides. Remember, the equation is cut in half, add 2. So this would be n over 10 equals -3 plus 2 is -1. And I always do the opposite, because this was -2 or a -2, I add 2. Because this is divide by 10, I multiply by 10. And n equals -10. If it were add, I would subtract. If it were multiply, I would divide. So if I look at a problem like number 4, I would start by adding 3 to both sides. Add 3 to both sides, then divide by -9. That's how I'd solve. So I add 3 to both sides of the equal sign, 132 plus 3. Then whatever I get with that, I divide by -9. So keep in mind that every problem is a little bit different. So I'm not going to be able to go over every type that you'll see, but just keep that in mind. Every problem is a little bit different. So another thing that we did at the beginning of the year, that's our simplifying and solving. This was our first chapter. Our second chapter was graphing lines. That was also so very long ago. Do you remember graphing lines? Who remembers how I do this? What does this information tell me? Anyone? So this number at the end tells me where the line crosses the y-axis. So this means I cross the y-axis at +2. So I start by putting a point at +2. Does that ring a little bit of a bell? And then this guy tells me the slope. I always call that the change. So this says from that point, because it's -7/4, I go down 7, right 4. or up 7, left 4. So up 7, left 4 is going to be off the graph. Oops, up 7, left 4 is going to be off the graph. So I'm going to go down 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right 4. Put my other point. I need at least 2 points to make the line. So once I have those graphed, I can connect them. Does that ring a bell at all? Look familiar at all? A little bit. It's been a while since we've done those. We'll review them again next year, but you do have one of these that you have to do on your final. Okay? All right, the next stuff is actually the more recent stuff. It's the stuff from this last 2 terms, okay? So all the rest of this should look really familiar. I just wanted to include this previous stuff because it is like the really important algebra stuff, okay? So do you guys remember arithmetic, geometric, neither? You do? Okay. I see some yeses, some no's. What's arithmetic?
Adding.
Add, yep, add or subtract each time. What's geometric?
Times.
Times each time. What's neither? Obviously,
Less.
neither, yeah. So when I go through these, what's going on this? Do I see a pattern? Sometimes they're hard to see when it's fractions.
Yeah, it's harder to see on their fractions, but
Uh-huh.
it's much easier when they're whole numbers.
It is much easier when they're whole numbers. So when in doubt, what I can do is, if it's arithmetic, then negative 2/3 minus negative 1 should equal negative 1/2 minus negative 2/3. And that can be my first check. So I do the second minus the first should equal the third minus the second. So I'll check that in my calculator. It is negative 2 fraction 3 minus negative 1. I get that answer, that's 1/3. So I'm going to write that down, that's 1/3. And then I do negative 1 fraction 2 minus negative 2 fraction 3. Get my answer, 1/6. Do those match? No. So then it's not arithmetic. So I can cross arithmetic off the list. If it's geometric, then it should be negative 2/3 divided by negative 1 should equal negative 1/2 divided by negative 2/3. So it would be divide by each one. Negative 2 fraction 3 divide by negative 1 equals 2/3. That's for this one. I'm running into the lower area. And then negative 1 fraction 2 divided by negative 2 fraction 3. And I got 3/4. So again, I can cross that out. That makes this one a neither. Now the fraction ones are going to be the more difficult ones, but when you get to a problem like number 9, it might be a little easier.
Ow.
Am I adding each time? Am I subtracting each time? It looks like adding. It looks like adding how much?
5.
Actually, negative 5.
Well,
But you,
You
yes,
understand
yes,
what-
So this one's arithmetic.
no.
You would say subtracting. You could say subtracting 5. Yep. Okay. And then up next, am I adding each time? This one's clearly, yeah. Yeah, this one's clearly not, because this one I can tell would be 3, and I know 1 minus 3 is not 1/4. So it's not arithmetic. Now I'll check geometric. Is 1 divided by 4
I'm guessing.
the same as 1/4 divided by 1? Is 1, well, that's 1/4. We can just write it like that. So I'm going to check the next one. 1 fraction 4 divided by 1. Oh, yep, certainly is. 1/4 equals 1/4, therefore geometric.
Oh.
Okay? Those were kind of some harder ones, so just keep that in mind, but those are the kind of checks that you do. If it's arithmetic or if arithmetic, add or subtract, yep. Geometric, yep. Okay, good. And then the next page gets into proportions. Yep. Yes, that's recent stuff. Yes. So cross multiply, do you guys remember those? Yep, okay, good. So I'm not even gonna, how about the percent problems? Do you remember that formula?
Is over of equal, percent over 100 equals is over of.
Great. Okay, super. How about the percent change problems?
X over 100.
X over 100.
Is over, or
Nope.
2 minus from over from.
Nice.
What?
Great. Okay.
Alex is
Yep.
looking like, what the freak?
Yep. And then the last ones are mode, median, and mean, and your dot plots, stem plots, box and whisker plots. Okay? So that's all. I just went through the older review stuff. The rest is fairly recent. I'll have you guys work on this. Again, I'll post this video. I'll post the answers so you can check your work as you go. And the only thing that I do want to add is for your stem plot, for your stem and leaf plot, the second one, on page 4. Problem number 26. To make this one's a stem and leaf plot, you need to round to the nearest whole number to complete this. That's the only one that you have to round on, okay? So that's the only one that needs to be rounded. All the rest of them can be done without rounding, but number 26, round to the nearest whole number. Again, this video will be posted. The answers will all be posted. Tomorrow, your final will be about 15 to 20 problems, and it will follow this order exactly as this appears, okay? And that's our plan.